The Cambodia-Thailand border dispute is one of Southeast Asia's longest-running territorial conflicts. Though rarely discussed in global media compared to wars in Europe or the Middle East, tensions between the two countries periodically erupt into armed clashes. The conflict is not simply about a temple. It is about national identity, colonial-era maps, political power struggles, and regional stability. The Preah Vihear revival refers to the renewed importance of the temple dispute in shaping relations between Cambodia and Thailand in the mid-2020s. Today, we will talk about Cambodia-Thailand border clashes, the forgotten Preah Vihear revival in 2026. So, before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. The ancient temple at the heart of the conflict. The roots of the Cambodia-Thailand border dispute lie in the centuries-old Khmer temple known as Preah Vihear Temple. Built during the Khmer Empire between the 9th and 12th centuries, the temple sits dramatically atop the Dangrek Mountains, overlooking Cambodia to the south and Thailand to the north. Unlike most Khmer temples that face east, Preah Vihear is uniquely aligned along a north-south axis, reflecting its distinct architectural and spiritual design. Because of its location directly on the mountain ridge that forms part of the border between the two countries, the temple became a symbol of sovereignty. For Cambodians, it represents the glory of the ancient Khmer Empire and a core element of national heritage. For Thailand, the surrounding plateau and access routes have long been considered part of Thai territory. Colonial maps and the origins of the border dispute. The origins of the conflict go back to the early 20th century during the colonial period when Cambodia was under French control and Thailand was known as Siam. In 1904 and 1907, France and Siam signed treaties to define the boundary between their territories. According to the treaty language, the border should follow the natural watershed of the Dangrek mountain range. However, a French-produced map known as the Annex I map placed Preah Vihear on the Cambodian side of the border. Thailand later argued that this map contradicted the watershed principle, while Cambodia maintained that the map had been accepted by Siam and therefore carried legal authority. This disagreement over which interpretation was correct became the foundation of the modern border dispute, the 1962 International Court of Justice decision. In the late 1950s, tensions escalated when Thailand stationed troops near the temple. Cambodia responded by bringing the case before the International Court of Justice, the United Nations' highest judicial body. In 1962, the court ruled that the temple itself belonged to Cambodia and ordered Thailand to withdraw its forces from the site. However, the ruling left one critical issue unresolved: the exact boundary of the surrounding land. While Cambodia gained control of the temple, both countries continued to claim the adjacent territory, which covers several square kilometers around the complex. This ambiguity planted the seeds for future confrontations. The Preah Vihear crisis of 2008 to 2011. For several decades, the dispute remained relatively quiet, but tensions exploded again in 2008 when Cambodia successfully applied for Preah Vihear to become a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Thailand protested the move, arguing that the listing included disputed territory. The disagreement quickly escalated into armed clashes along the border. Between 2008 and 2011, soldiers from both countries exchanged artillery fire and gunshots around the temple area. At least 16 people were killed and tens of thousands of civilians were displaced. The situation became so dangerous that the International Court of Justice intervened again in 2011 and ordered both sides to withdraw troops from a provisional demilitarized zone. In 2013, The court reaffirmed that the promontory around the temple belonged to Cambodia and demanded the withdrawal of Thai forces from the area. Although this ruling reduced tensions, it did not completely resolve the border dispute. Renewed tensions in 2025 to 2026. After years of relative calm, the conflict resurfaced dramatically in 2025. A Cambodian soldier was killed in a border skirmish in the disputed Emerald Triangle region, triggering a wave of tensions between the two countries. Following the incident, both governments accused each other of violating the border and began reinforcing military positions along the frontier. Sporadic firefights and troop movements were reported in several disputed areas, including regions around ancient temples. So Cambodia turned once again to the International Court of Justice seeking a final legal settlement of the border dispute. Thailand rejected the court's jurisdiction and insisted that the issue should be resolved through bilateral negotiations. Political motivations. Behind the conflict. Many analysts argue that domestic politics in both countries have played a major role in escalating tensions. In Cambodia, former Prime Minister Hun Sen has used the dispute to rally nationalist sentiment and maintain political influence even after stepping down from power. In Thailand, the issue of border sovereignty has also become a powerful political symbol. Nationalist groups often accuse governments of being too weak in defending Thai territory. As a result, leaders in both countries face strong domestic pressure to take a tough stance. In the role of nationalism and identity. Nationalism plays a crucial role in the Cambodia-Thailand conflict. For Cambodia, Preah Vihear is part of the broader cultural legacy of the Khmer Empire, which once dominated much of mainland Southeast Asia. Losing control over such a historic monument would be seen as a national humiliation. For Thailand, however, the issue is tied to historical grievances over colonial-era treaties that many Thai nationalists believe unfairly reduced the country's territory. These emotional and historical factors make compromise extremely difficult. Economic and strategic importance of the border. Beyond symbolism, the disputed border areas also have economic and strategic significance. The frontier region is rich in tourism potential due to its ancient temples and scenic landscapes. As Preah Vihear itself attracts visitors interested in Khmer architecture and history. In addition, control over border crossings can influence trade flows between the two countries. Cambodia and Thailand share an approximately 820-kilometer border, and local economies rely heavily on cross-border commerce. The role of ASEAN and international diplomacy. The regional organization Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, has attempted to mediate the dispute in the past. However, ASEAN's consensus-based decision-making process limits its ability to enforce solutions. During previous crises, ASEAN observers were deployed to monitor ceasefires, but the organization lacked the authority to impose binding settlements. As a result, the dispute has repeatedly returned to bilateral negotiations or international courts. As to military balance and risk of escalation, both Cambodia and Thailand maintain significant military forces along the border. Thailand's armed forces are larger and better equipped, while Cambodia relies on defensive positions and terrain advantages in the mountainous region. Despite occasional firefights, neither country appears eager for a full-scale war. However, the presence of troops, artillery, and landmines in the area means that small incidents can quickly escalate into larger confrontations. The human impact of border clashes. While geopolitical analysis often focuses on diplomacy and military strategy, the conflict has had serious consequences for local communities. Villagers living near the border have frequently been forced to evacuate during periods of fighting. In the symbolic revival of Preah Vihear, the phrase Preah Vihear revival reflects the temple's re-emergence as the focal point of regional tensions. Although the dispute has existed for over a century, the temple's symbolic value continues to shape national politics and diplomatic relations. Each new clash revives historical grievances, reminding both nations that unresolved border issues remain a major challenge in Southeast Asia. Possible paths toward peace. Several possible solutions have been proposed to resolve the dispute permanently. These include a new joint border commission to finalize the boundary demarcation, international arbitration through the International Court of Justice, shared management of disputed heritage sites, increased economic cooperation in border regions. What if you liked this video and would like to see more like it? Please give it the thumbs up, leave a comment, and click the button to subscribe.